Today's topic, Diddy's going to jail. The question isn't if, but how long. Forever! Now, I've been following this case, doing my research, learning all the small little details involved, rubbing baby oil on myself just to get in the, the mind of a predator.
That's
slick,
why are you talking in my face
predator.
Like that? Nigga, get the f off my face.
Oh, you don't like me violating your boundaries?
Nigga.
That's how Cassie felt.
This is fighting. This is fighting.
This is fighting?
This is fighting.
Yo, let me take you shopping.
Oh my God. Get the
shopping.
fuck off me, nigga. The fuck
Let me take you shopping, nigga.
Why you gotta be so aggressive?
I like it when you get angry, daddy. I like it when you get angry, daddy.
Play the clip.
Yo, this ain't trafficking.
Play the clip.
This is.
Yeah, I love this drink.
Where you put my bag
I like
at?
when you like this, daddy.
Yeah, where you put my bag
Daddy,
at?
I like when you
it's right
scrambling
here,
and scraping for shit.
No.
I like it when you move like that,
like
daddy.
it
Yo, it was weird watching hip hop niggas call each other daddy, like it was
That's
okay.
it's not them
Nah,
calling
I'm
each
sorry.
other. It was not
I
them,
looked at Fabulous and everyone in that room, Nori, all of them differently after that.
They just didn't do shit. That's okay. You know what? That's how powerful Diddy was.
He got these rap dudes.
These rap dudes that did things when they were kids. And now it's like, oh, I can't say much because this motherfucker might blow up my car. They stayed silent.
I
They
think
just
blowing
look
up
at
their
each-
car is the least of their worries. They were worried he's going to try to blow something else against their wheel.
Their butt.
Yeah. Make sure they all oiled up, dolled up, ready to inflate. Now, with that in mind,
Oh, a couple of pumps? Is that what you're saying?
getting back to the serious things.
Take that.
I think I've been hearing a lot of chatter, and I wanted to kind of address it because I
Go
think
ahead.
there's a lot of misconceptions. People who believe that this is just a domestic violence case are incredibly wrong. For this video, I want you guys to not think necessarily and focus in on Cassie and whether or not she's the perfect victim. Let's look at the totality of what's involved and what's the charges and what evidence has been brought forth so far. Let's focus on that because that's going to be the big sole determiner of whether or not he's going to be found guilty. And a lot of it, I'll be honest with you, they could have ran this case without Cassie. But the other stuff they got, that's the baby oil. So the testimony that we've heard so far has a lot of people convinced that this is just a DV situation, but it's not. And the reason why is if you have an understanding of what the charges are laid against him, you understand that one, they've already done a lot of the legwork to prove racketeering, which is the RICO charge, and also prove the charges of trafficking. Now, a lot of you don't believe that, but I'll explain how the violence ties into everything. So if we look at what Diddy's being charged with, he's actually quite a few things. There's racketeering and conspiracy, okay? So racketeering conspiracy, which is the RICO charge. And to understand what a RICO charge is, a RICO case requires at least 2 related crimes within 10 years of each other, showing a pattern of ongoing illegal activity linked to an enterprise that affects interstate commerce. In this case, basically, Sean Combs is the head of an organization, and through his staff and his orders, he ran a criminal enterprise. Now, you guys might not believe that, but understand what the 2 crimes that they need to prove. For those who believe that there's no RICO involved in this, I can tell you for certain that they're going to have him on narcotics distribution, and they're also going to have him, there's also one for prostitution.
Diddy is indicted for a total of 8 predicate RICO charges, those being acts of kidnapping, acts of arson, bribery, obstruction of justice via evidence tempering, forced labor, sex trafficking, transportation for purposes of prostitution and possession with intent to distribute cocaine, oxy, MDMA, or ecstasy, among others.
This is where things in regards to the racketeering get interesting. They're going to have him on the prostitution as well. And the reason being is they have the escorts. They can prove that they traveled across state lines based on, plane tickets and all that stuff. They're going to have, I think they're going to have like 7 or 8 different prostitutes that they hired testifying in this case. So they're going to have him on that charge, okay? And then the distribution of narcotics, if you guys remember on one of the first days, they had an FBI agent come, and when they went to his hotel room in 2024, they actually confiscated a large amount of drugs, which they showcased. So the reason why they had that person testify that everyone glossed over is they're setting up all the elements needed to prove racketeering. The idea that you guys believe that there is none involved, you guys are not paying that close attention in regards to everyone that they're bringing up. The prosecution is laying out an ironclad case.
I think that most people that are saying that don't even follow the case.
Now, I just mentioned those 2, which are pretty much guaranteed. There's also bribery. The hotel staff member who witnessed Diddy beat Cassie, and then Diddy asked him, listen, I'll give you money, just get rid of the tape. That man is also testifying that Diddy tried to bribe him. The employees who are part of the racketeering conspiracy of Diddy, a lot of them are testifying into the case about how Diddy got them to go up to people and silence them with money, pay them off. So they're going to have bribery also in
the
this.
employees what we know.
So
but there's a whole bunch of
and also, you know, Cassie's already, I believe, testified to the fact that Diddy's paid people off. So you're having everyone corroborate what is the case against Diddy by the state. So that's 3. Obstruction of justice. They have Diddy in trying to intimidate, trying to pay off witnesses in this. That is obstruction of justice. If you try to destroy evidence in relation to this case, that is obstruction of justice. It'll be very easy, in my opinion, to have them prove this as well.
Can't protect you from baby oil and Diddy, but we can protect you while you're surfing the internet thanks to today's sponsor, Surfshark.
And while I'm abroad and doing gay stuff with my girl, I cannot enjoy the program that I'm watching back home because you are in the country that you're in. You know, they say that the content that you are trying to access is not available in your country or blah, 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 blah. What I suggest to you is the Surfshark VPN. That's the wonderful thing. It saves me when I'm on the trip and I want to enjoy my programs. I want to be able to watch certain things, you know, my... You know what I'm talking about. So I'm able to change the location of where my computer is, so it thinks it's in another country. Or I can save on the plane fares that I'm trying to get. I'm trying to access that. By changing the location of where you are, you can have additional discounts on your plane fares. And while you're abroad doing gay stuff with your wife, you're going to be able to surf the internet with an encryption of that data while it's out there. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to have access to your data, and you don't want that. And I would suggest you to do it so. You can click on the link below or go on surfshark.com/AbbaandPreach. Promo code ABAANDPREACH, Abba and Preach, and you're going to be able to have 4 months extra. You watch this, you click there, and then everybody's happy. You get to watch your programs, you get to save on your plane fares, and you're going to be able to have 4 months for free. So go right now on surfshark.com/AbbaandPreach and enjoy that 4 months extra of that wonderful service of Surfshark. Boom!
And this doesn't even include the trafficking portion. Understand, Cassie's not the only girl. There's multiple other women who have similar stuff that are going to be participating in this trial. And this is where I talk about the violence aspect. One of the aspects of trafficking that is really important, accused of coercing victims into commercial sex acts through threats, violence, and drug use. There's a lot of testimony from people that Diddy was pushing drugs onto Cassie. There is video evidence of Diddy beating her. And people say it's just domestic violence, but some of it happened during the freak-offs in front of the escorts. So the escorts are present. They're saying she didn't want to do certain things or she was unhappy with certain things, and Diddy would beat her into submission for her to engage in the commercial sex act.
Couldn't get a hard on?
He couldn't get a hard on, and he ruined the freak-off. And so everyone was upset because
you're not gonna fuck the girl beat to a pulp.
Yeah, I mean, bro, it's a disgusting waste of very good baby oil. I would be upset too.
And very very good semen.
Understand that anyone who's saying this is just about domestic violence, you're incredibly wrong. Now, you can say a lot of things about Cassie and her credibility. I'm going to be right there with you, even though I don't believe this. I'm going to give it to you. Let's say Cassie's not the most credible, that maybe she participated in all this stuff. That has no bearing on Diddy's crimes himself and whether or not he's guilty. We can have a different discussion about, you know, her and her role in this and whether or not she'd be charged, and I'll do a separate video on that. But I'm just talking about whether or not Diddy's going to be involved in doing prison time and whether or not this is domestic violence, as a lot of you are claiming. So let's go to the next one. Transportation to engage in prostitution. This is also something he's being charged with, which is he's involved in transporting individuals across state lines for commercial sex acts. This is also called the Mann Act. A lot of people are not aware because they be DMing me, but it's illegal to pay prostitutes to sleep with you. It's illegal for them to do that job, and it's illegal for you to get that. And it becomes an even bigger issue if they go to travel across state lines to do it, hence the federal charge. I don't understand how he'll get off on this charge. The prostitutes involved are all admitting that Diddy paid them. They also have Cassie admitting to it. So two of the people who were banging are all admitting to who did it. They have hotel receipts. There's manifestos. There's no way he's getting off on this charge either. And Diddy was directing a lot of this stuff for his own enjoyment. So everyone involved, including all the receipts and money and camera work, will put Diddy there because Diddy recorded a lot of these segments. He recorded a lot of these acts.
And they got the evidence.
And they got those tapes. So this charge alone, if I remember correctly, it could go from anywhere from 1 year to 10 years in federal prison. And he's going to be found guilty of that. So that's why I said It's not a question of if he's going to jail, it's just how long.
So the big question is, how long you reckon?
I think he's going to be doing
25 to life. Okay.
No, I think he's getting life. So when they're going to sentence him, they're just going to sentence him to life. That's really what I believe based off what I've already seen so far. Because these federal charges are incredibly bad. And because of the gravity of his violence involved in this, and there's video evidence, it's so repugnant, I have a hard time believing any judge would ever give him a chance to get out. I think the only way he doesn't get life, to be honest, is if he pleads out and then he starts to...
if he does a plea deal.
Yeah.
But then he's the... No, because usually the plea deal is for when they can catch the bigger fish.
No, that's one way. But plea deals, sometimes prosecutions, if they don't want to take any chances, they'll offer a plea deal in those situations to just guarantee a conviction, right? But because this is so high profile, I'll be honest with you, I don't think they have any incentive to do it. And because they're so confident about their case, I also don't think
what would be the incentive of giving him a plea? Like, what is he going to plead?
I think in this situation, I don't think there is much. But plenty of people who are facing 25 to life or the death penalty plead. The reason why they plead is, I don't want to die, so I'll take life in prison instead. And the prosecution is like, I don't want to take a chance with the jury, because even if there's a 1% chance.
No, the jury is.
Even if there's a 1% chance, I would rather that. Actually, you know what's true? You'll get plea deals a lot more often with people who are facing like just a set amount of years rather than people who are facing the death penalty or stuff like that. Wait, maybe I'm saying it wrong. My whole point being is like, if you have nothing to lose, like let's say you're an older person, let's say I'm 60 and you're giving me the option of 20 to life. Well, I'm gonna just take my chances with the jury, because if I plead to 20, like how's that going? I'm gonna be dead. So I'm gonna just go to court. Yeah. But it is. He's also charged with possession with intent to distribute controlled substances. He's had his staff member come to testify. He's had Cassie. He's been caught with the substances. Basically, what that means is everyone who was involved in distributing on his behalf with records are all admitting that Diddy was the one who put him up to sending these drugs to other people. So you understand the RICO aspect of it. Diddy is the head of the snake of this organization, giving orders to everyone below him, and they're distributing these drugs. Even though he wasn't selling, it doesn't matter. Was he purchasing in large quantities? Yes. Was he distributing to other people for use? Yes. It's over for him in that regards. Indictment cites multiple offenses involving drugs such as cocaine, oxycodone, ketamine, MDMA, GHB, and others used to control and coerce victims. They were recovered during searches in 2024. Okay, and then the witness tampering stuff I mentioned earlier. Combs and his associates allegedly attempted to silence victims through bribery, threats, and orchestrated false narratives through public allegations and law enforcement inquiries. Yeah, after public allegations emerged, Combs allegedly paid victims and associates to stay silent, including a $50,000 cash drop. Now that I've gone through everything, the violence is at the heart of this situation. And I think people have to now start to change the way that they view racketeering, the way that they view trafficking, because you have to understand, just because there's true violence between a couple doesn't mean that that violence is only a matter of domestic issues. If you control their career, if you're involving them with sex workers, if you are taking them across state lines to do your bidding, if you're paying, or if you're forcing them to sleep with other people or getting money from it, these no longer stay in the domestic realm, and now that violence goes on to pimping. It goes on to trafficking. It goes on to all these different things that now they can charge you with much more time with. So anybody who says this is just about domestic violence, you are incredibly wrong. And I want you guys to understand this, because by the time we get to the end of this trial and they're going to give him a guilty verdict, I don't want you to sit there and be like, oh, he was just his girl. That's not what's happening here at all. And all the other testimonies from people involved prove that this is not just about that. There's drugs, there's a criminal enterprise, there's him giving orders to his security and his staff to silence people, beat them up, intimidate, threaten them, so he can keep going. I even think that they probably have him on kidnapping. Now you're like, what? How could that be?
Well, the definition of kidnapping is just restraining someone in the place.
Now, when he beat Cassie a few times, there's multiple witnesses that have claimed that he would not let her leave. The reason why is that she had wounds all over her face and he didn't want her to go in public while she looked like that. So he would tell her she had to stay somewhere while she healed. And security guards will testify to this. Assistants will testify to this, including the victims themselves. So when you look at what it takes to get him on racketeering, out of the 6 or 7 things, he pretty much hits almost all of them except for arson. I truly believe
you don't have to have arson.
The best case scenario for Diddy is that there's going to be a mistrial. That's the best case scenario. And the reason why there might be a mistrial is, let's say the prosecution has some kind of crazy misconduct. That's a possibility, which I highly doubt because federal prosecutors are pretty good about their stuff. The other option is that there's a rogue jury member and they will be deadlocked no matter what. They want to believe Diddy's not guilty, so they will not say. They will die on it. It happened in many trials. And the reason why I say that is like I watched the YNW Melly from start to finish, which is that one ended up in a mistrial. And people couldn't believe because it was a pretty good case against YNW Melly. What ended up happening is that they spoke to the jury members. They said there was one girl who said, no, the police framed and whatever. She would just refuse to budge. The judge kept telling them, go back to deliberations. 3 days they tried and they just couldn't. So the judge's like, all right, I release you guys and I declare a mistrial. So now they're retrying YNW Melly.
They're retrying it?
They're going to get him. He's like based off the evidence, and I watched the court case. He's done. He's done for. That's a possibility for this.
But if they,
there's no way. I cannot believe that they would get 12 people to get there, and they would say not guilty on all charges because none of it is reasonable doubt.
But the thing is,
yeah, hit me.
You're saying that the only way that he could do that.
I said hit me, and I'm like,
God damn, dude.
I'm having a good time. Go for it.
They retry. Let's say they retry the Diddy. They dismiss it. Right, mistrial. Yeah, mistrial. They're gonna run it back.
Of course.
So you're saying the only way that he gets this is if they mistrial it? No, because they're gonna run it back.
Yeah.
He's still gonna be in jail. It's not good if they mistrial it.
Yeah. I'll do you one better. There is literally not a chance in hell. Sorry.
Say that again. Why you put your vest on?
I mean, I wanted to be thematic.
Always trying to bite my style. You see this?
Nah, it's because this is Diddy, bro. Got to make sure you got no shirt on, too. Bad boys for life. We ain't going nowhere.
You see how he's kidnapping?
Except for jail. Because we bad boys for life.
Boys being boys.
Now,
but what are you saying?
This case is so high profile, the federal government, they could have gotten him on gun charges because he had. When they searched his home, they found guys with no serial numbers.
Yeah.
They could have gotten him on a lot of different things, but I don't think they need to because a lot of the stuff that they're charging him with now is the most ironclad stuff. The drug thing you can't get out of. They walked into your hotel room, it was there. He claimed it was belonged to a woman he was with. That's never gonna fly because they already have his employees testifying to the fact that they procured stuff for him.
That's never gonna fly.
That's never gonna fly.
Whose person is gonna invite someone in their hotel?
Yeah.
And then the person's just going to leave a large quantity of drugs and just going to, you know what? It's okay.
It's over for him. And I think I just want to lay it down for you guys. Lay it down.
Lay it down like Diddy.
Because I think a lot of people don't understand the case. And that's okay. If you don't read the statutes, if you don't read the indictment, you're not going to get it. But I'm telling you, this is a slam dunk case. And I think I'll do another video if you guys want me to discuss the whole Cassie stuff and whether or not she's the perfect victim, the mentality. That's something we could do as well. But Diddy going to jail? That's all I wanted to say. And hey, listen, I don't mind. Send his ass to jail. What do you think?
It was domestic violence.
It was?
It was. It was just domestic violence. And the people that are saying that is because that's the only thing that they read. They don't read into it like you do.
Yeah.
You have to understand how people are incredibly lazy with this thing. They're lazy and they don't want to read into things. People they say like, yo, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but all the people are doing is judging books by covers. You know what I mean? They don't even read the back. They just be like, that's how I feel. They base an opinion before reading the facts. I think that's a societal problem. That's a societal problem that we have. Basing your opinion before even hearing the facts or whatever. That's what we're doing. Yeah. That's what it's been happening. You know understand what I'm saying? So I'm not surprised when I see people that are saying, yeah, it's just this, it's just that. They don't know shit about fuck. Yeah. But everybody's gonna know shit about fuck and not know the facts. But they're gonna be able to base their opinion on it. And that's there's a lot of people from the hip hop community are doing that. All they say is facts all day, but how they operate is their feelings all night. You know what I mean? That's what they do. And it's just when they have that opinion, it's just we saw that the hotel room thing, domestic violence. You don't know the rest. You haven't read into the rest. And sometimes it's really futile to argue with these people because they don't base themselves on facts.
To be fair to them, though, a lot of the commentators who are talking about this situation are the ones disseminating this information. I don't expect most people to look at the minutes that are being offered by the court reporters and all that stuff. I don't expect people to do that. A lot of commentators on this are super lazy when it comes to the research that they're doing. And they're doing like the most surface level, what's the counter narrative that I can give in terms of a take and it's going to get me views. But Go read the stuff. I promise you, you will look at this. Most lawyers who have read through this thing will tell you he going to jail.
Motherfuckers don't.
And you have to remember who's prosecuting this. Federal prosecutors are not to be played with. The reason why is they got an insane amount of resources. It's not state level. These motherfuckers got all the money in the world. These people have all kinds of technology. They can enlist local states to help them with all this stuff involved. And if the federal prosecutors come to your door asking for information, like people ask this question, why is nobody else being charged with the RICO? There's two possibilities. One, they're going to charge a lot of his employees after the fact. Two, they're using plea deals with every single one of these people to get Diddy. And I'll be honest with you, if I worked with Diddy, I didn't really like him, but I did some dirty shit. Prosecutors come to my door, testify, you're going to jail with him. I'm snitching. And every one of his employees right now are snitching on him.
You better
if
believe.
you don't think that they don't have damning evidence about him, you are misguided.
Everybody's snitching.
Everybody.
Everybody is snitching.
Everybody. So again,
I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'm driving it.
You have to remember that prosecutors generally, when they're doing these kinds of violent crimes and these levels of charges, they already are operating on home field advantage. And the reason why is people have a general negative feeling right away when they see a criminal and violence. And you can't get away from the video of him beating her. So already their minds are going to be incredibly affected by that. And what's going to weigh in their mind is the fact that, like, are we going to let this man who beats on people repeatedly in the most vicious manner in public out on the streets? That's going to be something they're going to ask themselves. Now, they shouldn't, but you can't get out of that part of the psyche. That video is probably one of the more damning pieces of evidence against him in terms of how it affects, because like numbers, all these things, that's one thing. But when you watch that video, for the average person who's not online every day, they see that beating and they're like, I don't want that man on the streets.
When you saw that baseball throw of a vase,
Yes.
you're like, there's another person at the end of that throw.
Yes.
And it's not a mitt.
That video is going to make it very easy for these people to sleep well at night when they find him guilty.
100%.
It's like, oh, you might have gotten it wrong. Well, this is the guy who beats women all the time. I won't lose sleep over that.
And the question...
And the defense is crazy. The defense is essentially, we know he's a bad guy. We know he beats women, but that's not what this... If that's your defense...
That's crazy.
Bro,
That's crazy.
You are already on lose. You are starting with minus 20 points in a football game. And there's 2 quarters left.
And you're not in possession of the ball.
So it's just, you guys have, this is, I commend the defense lawyers because they're trying everything to discredit a lot of the witnesses. But unfortunately, just from the testimony I've seen so far, have they poked hole in certain things? Have they maybe given motivation? Sure. But you know what they haven't done? They haven't made them out to be liars.
Bro.
They haven't had them yet perjure themselves. And so with all that in mind, I'm like, if you can't do it on the most important witnesses so far, you toast.
Bro, they know.
Yeah.
They 100% know.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm gonna do that because that's my job.
Yeah.
But I'm not winning that one.
What do you think is the best way for Diddy to get off? I have one theory.
Get off?
I think to get off. Like,
He puts the baby oil on his dick, and then after that, he wants, like, we already know the nipple stuff, right?
Fair. I actually was gonna say looking at pictures of Tupac's corpse, but
What would Biggie say?
I don't know. Ask Diddy. He killed him. He's the last person to know.
Exactly.
I actually think it's Trump. Trump been handing out pardons like cotton candy.
Nah, but he's no. Diddy's black. Diddy's black.
And he's actually giving
Stop.
He gave a pardon. He gave a pardon to Mayor Adams.
It doesn't matter. Mayor Adams is in politics, and he can do something about that. It's like giving an award. It's if Trump was presenting an award to Kendrick, the way that they didn't like the Super Bowl halftime show, it's like that they see Diddy in this. It's like, this is no. I'm not gonna do that. It's not gonna him pardoning Diddy doesn't help his fan base.
I disagree. He already did it for a few other rappers so far.
Who?
I think Kodak Black.
The
was
rapper
one.
that was praising him.
But my whole point is Diddy. That's all he needs to do. He needs to do that and do some donations.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Maybe not because of how profile this is, but I'm saying that's his best odds. That's what I truly believe.
But then again, Trump is crazy, so he might do it. But he won't. He won't. He really
But I
won't.
don't think the race factor. Trump only cares about who makes him feel good and who's paying his pockets. So he's actually let off a lot of criminals, people who are literally already found guilty of theft, of fraud, or a lot of that. He's already gotten them off. So I'm saying this is actually, and I actually read an article recently that Diddy's team are actually looking to Trump for a pardon. Deadass. And I actually think if he did it, For his base, it would actually be quite popular.
This guy really said Diddy ass. That's crazy. You heard that? Diddy ass.
At any rate, let us know what y'all think in the comments.